Alrighty. Yes, I am live. Checking my Wi-Fi connection. I'm super excited to go live again because the previous time I was really enjoying the interactive chat, and I decided to start this video with the topic Costa Rica Facts, but also ask me anything. I know that sometimes you just want to ask your question to someone who's listening and can reply right away. So I wanted to make myself available in this live streaming on my channel, on the Sunshine Family channel, to answer your questions. So don't be shy. If you're watching and you have questions, just drop them in the chat and I will look at them. And doggies, go away. Go. They're always with me. You know that if you watch my videos, I didn't train them to stay with me, but I just do. And also, I wanted to share a little bit more about my story since some people ask me about it. And it might be helpful to see that I'm just a mom, an average mom, and I came from the Netherlands. I didn't speak Spanish yet. And why we decided to move to Costa Rica, I'm not sure if I was very clear about that part of the story. So let me, while people are hopping on live and while people are texting their questions, so guys and girls, ask me anything, okay? If you have questions about Costa Rica, how to become an expat, things about anything that you want to know about expat life in Costa Rica, drop your questions in the chat. So let me just go ahead and keep on chatting. Dogs, stop. Joey. Sorry. Come on. Clap. Clap. It's the beauty of life. This is not edited. I'm not an actress. I'm just a mom. My kids are playing. My daughter's actually cleaning her room, and the dogs are always with me when I'm doing something concentrated. Okay, so Muriel, me, I'm almost 49. No, not almost, but I feel super young. But I become 49 this year, and I have always had a big dream, together with Dirk, to move to a tropical destination. And that dream was not just born like that. I had like a social worker job for pretty much 23 years. I graduated early, more or less, did a higher education, social studies. And I did that work for pretty much 23 years altogether, with some breaks in between. I had a break traveling with Dirk in 2002, 2003, almost 1.5 years. We traveled overland to China. That was pretty exciting. From Central Station The Hague in the Netherlands, we just traveled by train to China, and from there to previous Soviet states, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey. We almost entered Afghanistan, but it was really close to 9/11, so we decided not to go to Afghanistan by that time. So yeah, we traveled a lot. I remember that time I felt so super free. Come, klaar. I felt super free, and I realized that the world was so huge. While I was always working as a social worker before that big journey, I remember that how life can keep you busy, right? And we didn't even have children yet. Life can keep you busy, and before you know it, you're working. And I remember sitting in a really shaky bus with bats in it in China that I thought, wow, why did I even kept my house in the Netherlands? Because if I would never come back, I could be staying traveling forever, right? But I remember it's money that was limited, because that time was before the internet. I was not working online yet. And yeah, so that's basically how the first bubbles of the dream to move abroad and to live abroad and to have that everlasting being away from home, freedom kind of thing started. And that had nothing to do with Costa Rica. And when we came back, life got in the way in a good way. I became pregnant back. And is there any questions, guys? I don't see questions yet. I would like to see your questions. I'm here to serve. But if I don't see questions yet, I would be happy to just keep on telling a little bit more about my story, so you can get to know me a little bit, and why I choose Costa Rica as a country to live in as an expat, coming here with 2 growing up children. And that was actually a big leap, especially for our oldest, because she was already 14. And that's like, an age that a lot of people said, well, is that really, can you really do that, right? To a girl of her age, to grab her out of her life. But we actually did. But anyways, life got in the way of our dreams of moving abroad and travel, and I don't know, do things that had nothing to do with the life that we were leading. Coming back, we became parents. Our first born was born, our daughter Sam. She's almost 16 now, and meanwhile, I really walked against the walls in a way that we were traveling for a year. We saw so many different cultures. We saw moms with babies on their back in Vietnam, and they just, I don't know, it was so different than the life that I saw coming back. I started to, meanwhile, when I was pregnant, I worked in a bar, but that time people were still allowed to smoke in bars. I'm talking about 2003, right? And it was crazy because I was pregnant and people were smoking cigars in front of me. That was really weird. So I couldn't keep up with that. I felt I was working and living in a box, and that the rules and regulations. Sure, I see. Can I see someone saying, "S. Walker, can we talk?" Yeah, just drop your question about Costa Rica, and I'm happy to answer it. So yeah, basically Dirk started his first restaurant, and then time flew by. Before we know it, we had 2 children, and I worked full time as a social worker again. I stopped working in the bar. That was not, livable for a mom. Working in bars in the Netherlands that time was just not for me. To bring my kids to daycare and then to work in the bar for a minimum paycheck and pay the daycare from my paycheck. That was like so I got out of my mind about it. That was not something that was attached to my heart. Not that, how do I explain that? That was not my values. I didn't become a mom to work away from home. And yeah, you're welcome. Drop your questions. I'm here. I'm just chatting. I have the feeling I have a conversation with myself, but I do know after doing this video live, it will be streaming on my channel. And there's plenty of information in the other videos. So now it's about me in the beginning. But yeah, I was just in the, I do all these videos, and perhaps you think, well, why are you doing all these videos? Well, it has to do with my story, where I come from. So basically, I was a social worker. That's my point. And I was a mom since 2004 of 2. Now we have a boy and a girl. And I always loved to coach people. I always loved to educate people. I was in front of classrooms. I worked with babies. I worked with adults. I worked with elderly people, with mentally disabled people. I worked with aggressive people, with convicted criminal people. I worked with a lot of people with mental disabilities, but who were a part of society, and society was not there to back them up. I worked in specialized teams. I worked as a flex worker. I did so many different things, and so I told in the beginning of my video, I'm almost 49. That's a question. How old are you? So yeah, but I feel much younger. And I think that's the Costa Rica air. So basically, yeah, I did a lot of social work, but I love to educate. And I enjoyed the personal connection that I always had with my clients. I learned a lot from my clients. And I also saw that with just this, with having trust in people, sometimes that is everything they need to get their life back on track. So somehow, people ask me, why do you like to do these videos, right? Why do you show so much about your life? Well, I learned a while ago that when I want to escape my job life and want to make it online, I do need to share more about myself, because people do not buy into companies. They do not buy products. They buy from people, right? They want to know, like, and trust someone. So I just decided, what the heck? I did all the dangerous work and all that hard work and, complicated work. I worked in places that when I called Dirk, literally, this is an anecdote. I called Dirk Our youngest was 1.5. She was just still wearing diapers. And I wanted to ask them, what's for dinner? Do I need to bring something after my shift? And Dirk said, oh my goodness, are you in a zoo or something? So that were the noises of the mental disabled people. I was flex working that time for my paychecks, right? And it didn't pay really well. And it was so noisy. And it was a place where clients could jump on you and just scratching you open. I was going to work with my hair like this, without any jewelry, with my mountain boots on, and it was crazy. But still, I learned so much from it, and I've always liked to give back to people. Don't ask me why. Perhaps I'm born that way. So I kind of took the leap to share things about my life. Because people start to ask me about, how do you do this, Muriel? How did you move to Costa Rica? Because in a nutshell, after Dirk's restaurant creation, and I'm looking at the questions. Do you like hardcore challenges? I don't know if this is like I will reply to this after my video. I'm not sure where this conversation is leading. Just drop your questions about Costa Rica, and I'm happy to answer them. And all personal things, it's not really right fit to do that right now, if that makes sense. And I see Ryan. Hey, I know your name. So basically, Dirk started restaurants. I kept on working as a social worker, and then we started to be in a situation with our back against the wall. Dirk faced a bankruptcy, and that made me realize that my life was actually not the life that I foresaw. I didn't want to have all that stress. I didn't want to live in a tiny house, feeling locked up with a tiny garden, which was kind of awesome because there were a lot of people living in smaller houses. But I was like, come on, I've seen the world before we started our family. There's so much out there. What are we doing here? I don't want to see all concrete in my street. I want to see nature. I don't know. There was always something on school, and looking at what the kids were learning there, I was like, they learned that the monkey is living in the zoo. I want them to see the monkeys in the trees. So, we started to talk about our dream to move abroad, and simultaneously being in a financial crisis brought us online. And that basically helped us to get to Costa Rica, because we didn't have to apply for jobs in Costa Rica. Thank goodness. Otherwise, we could have never lost it here during COVID. While we see lots of people losing their jobs, we can build our lives on our online business. So, that's basically in a nutshell about me, and about the Muriel who you see doing videos live on YouTube. And that's why I thought I'm going to go live right now to tell you a little bit about where I come from. That was not always doing videos, but that I've always enjoyed serving people. So, and I believe that you can create an income based on your expertise in any ways. And you can also start a YouTube channel. You can write ebooks like I did. I wrote an ebook, 7 Steps to Costa Rica. It's just one of the income streams that I've created, right? And it's a little income stream. There's much more that we do. And are you looking for something? Oh, anyways, so Dirk came in. No one knew that I was doing a live video because I didn't know myself yet. And okay, I see that there's a question, so I'll stop talking. Ryan, question. Best time to visit as soon as borders open up in November. Best time to visit as soon as I think the best time to visit Costa Rica is just as soon as the borders open up. If you ask me personally, I love rainy season. Rainy season where I live in Punta Arenas at the Peninsula de Nicoya. So Punta Arenas is long, right? I'm at the Peninsula de Nicoya. It rains from May to the end of November, basically. But sometimes it's drier, sometimes it's wetter. It's basically pretty wet right now. I love the wet season. I don't mind. But you will see in town, usually when there was no COVID, that a lot of restaurants and places are closed. So it's kind of quiet. Now it's quiet, totally, right? But I would say Costa Rica's awesome in every season. If you don't mind a little bit of rain, it has its charm. Rainy season, it's muddy where we live, where the infrastructure is not that well. But in dry season, there's a lot of dust, right? So, and I prefer seeing everything green and muddy and then with rain instead of dust and super dry. But it has both its charm. So I would say just come when Costa Rica opens its border. There's so much to discover here all year round. It depends on where you go to. If that answers your question, Ryan. And you want to stay for 3 months. Okay, that's awesome. So if you stay for 3 months, there's always drier parts to find if you would enter Costa Rica in rainy season, to the down south, close to Peninsula Asa, near Dominical. It's more wetter than in the higher parts or the other parts close to San Jose and close to Liberia. So yeah, you can just, for 3 months, you have time enough, I believe, to go from A to B and just find your way and see where you end up to. I know there's people going to the Caribbean side in rainy season and they like it. I do know, for example, that the Caribbean side is not ideal on rainy season because there are many, many mosquitoes. But it depends on what you like, and perhaps mosquitoes don't bite you, right? So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Oh, and Ryan has another question. In the Central and South Pacific, I also see a lot of people on dirt bikes and scooters. Would you recommend buying them first before dirt bike? So if you come for 3 months, so let me just share when I decided to buy a vehicle, when I knew that I really, really needed it, right? Okay, renting a quad or a motorbike can be quite expensive. In general, you pay around 70 to 75 bucks tourist price for renting a quad, right? But a motorbike, dirt bike, I don't know if you mean with dirt bike, I think that's like a cross motor. You can test it. I would just rent first and test what you prefer. It's not without danger to use a motorbike. Lots of accidents happen, especially in rainy season, because it's slippery. You're very vulnerable. But yeah, there is multiple community groups, Ryan, where you can be part of. You can start searching for them now on Facebook. Just type in the search bar Costa Rica Expat community groups. You will see popping up a lot of groups, and then start asking around, like, who has a vehicle for sale. And if you buy a second-hand vehicle, always ask for papers when it was. So it should have papers, otherwise you're totally illegal. If it was under maintenance at the garage, and don't step into the trap of that it looks very shiny, but it can be fully rotten from the inside. So know whom you're buying from. That's just some warnings, but there's multiple options. I would just test a couple of. It's easy to rent. And yeah, we decided to buy a new vehicle, but that's because we live here long term and we have kids, and we bought a quad, and that quad was new, $11,000. But I have never seen a better Oh, something is going on. Hold on. Oh, my dog is whining. You hear that? It doesn't happen at all a lot. This. I hope someone is fine. Okay, so you wanted to visit Nicoya, Ryan? You wanted to visit Nicoya, and I'm in Jaco. Can I take a ferry there? I need to see the map for that. I'm really dumb with maps from my mind. But you can look up the ferry website of or just Google how to get from A to B. I should look into this, but it's easy to Google this. Please do like it about everything and nothing. Please do Q&A live discussion about everything and nothing, says S. Walker. Well, okay. Anyways, I am... Okay, S. Walker, please let me know. What would you like to know about Costa Rica? Like, if I can serve you with specific information, just drop it here. And, I can talk for hours about Costa Rica. But I will do that more and more on topic-related videos. Was just curious what would happen here if I just open up a Q&A, ask me anything. And also just share a little bit more about where I come from and why I fell in love with Costa Rica, which I haven't shared yet. So let me just continue while some people might be hopping on and start sharing some questions in the comments, which I can reply to. So basically, from the situation of financial being strapped, right? We start to look online what was possible. It was totally not in our vision to move to Costa Rica because we never been to Costa Rica. We went to Asia years ago, right? And I've been to Cuba, but that's more like Latin America. That's like a different island. So basically, the moment that we start to be successful online, and meanwhile we could replace the restaurants, we could pay off our debt, all thanks to our online business, and this started to be very profitable online. Options open. So we went on a vacation, a family vacation. We even brought Dirk's mom. We are very close. We are like a family of 5. And we literally fell in love with Costa Rica, that family vacation in 2015 or 2016. I lost count when it was, I think 16. And we had such a wonderful time. We were in Dominico. We were there in May. It was super warm. It also rained, but it was like a family kids holidays. And that made us realize that this was the country where we would potentially want to open up our laptops after closing them in the Netherlands, just leave everything or sell everything in the Netherlands and just start a new life here. We had many reasons to leave the Netherlands. That sounds perhaps weird. I'm not saying that the only reason to become an expat in Costa Rica is when you have a lot to leave. But basically, I did so many type of work. I worked with so many beautiful clients in so many different neighborhoods in my city. I don't have such a big family. My mother already passed away when I was 19. My stepmother passed away 6 years ago. My father-in-law passed away 3 years ago. My father passed away when I already moved to Costa Rica. He was very sick when I left. It was a really hard decision, but I had many reasons to just say, I'm done with the Netherlands. Why not just plant a new flag and start a new life and let's take it from there. That's basically how I decided to leave my country and to move to Costa Rica, because my heart made a big jump being in Costa Rica. So I've already been there. The smells were nice. The people were nice. I love the language. I love the music. I love the facilities. Like, it is active areas like surfing and yoga. And I just basically loved everything. And Dirk had exactly the same. And there were spots I heard where there was like very fast internet connection coming. And that was for us like the reason to say, okay, let's just do it. Because before you know it, and I experienced that in the past, before you know it, life gets in the way. I have experienced my father becoming really, really sick. I've experienced he took care of his second wife for a couple of years, right? And they bought a camper that time, and they never drove in it more than 10 times. I'm just saying, before you know it, life can get in the way. So that's why we decided we're just going to do it and take it as it comes. And that says a lot about my personality. And I don't know how you are, how you think about things. But I think that if you want to move to a foreign country, doesn't matter if it's Costa Rica or another country, you should always take a leap of faith, because you can never know everything in advance. Like, you don't know exactly how it's going to be, no matter if you've already been vacationing in a country. When you really leave your other country, like what we did, like selling our stuff, like going for a long-term one-way ticket, that was one of the most awesome experiences I've created. I'm not saying it was one of the most awesome experiences for my daughter, for my son. It was pretty scary for them, but also I see them having the benefits of life here, right? Our daughter has a horse now, something that was not possible in the Netherlands. We have a lot of space. I was born in a small two-bedroom apartment in a flat, right? In a high building, high fourth left in the left corner. And now I have all this space, 5.5 acres. I feel so sincerely happy and grateful with everything that Costa Rica has to offer, and also decided to give back. I want to promote Costa Rica. Costa Rica deserves to get more expats. Costa Rica deserves to get more retired people people like online marketers like I am, it's awesome. You can have an international company and live in Costa Rica as an expat, even on a tourist visa, and extend that time after time. You can read that in my book, 7 Steps to Move to Costa Rica. I will post the link in the description below, and how that's all done, visa run. I see that Ryan is saying, thank you for these questions. Already have read so many books and documentary on Costa Rica. What's a good city community to settle in first if you love the beach and surfing? Well, I would say Santa Teresa. That's the area where I live. If you like to live a little bit more remote, I know that near Tamarindo, near Flamingo Beach, Playa Grande, that's more close to Tamarindo. There's a big community there. There's a big community, surf community in Nosara. That there's also surf community in the area Osa. The community Santa Teresa is where I'm situated. It's at the peninsula de Nicoya. I live in the middle of Montezuma, Cabuya, and Santa Teresa. And there's lots of surf here around. And there's a big community here. Now, I can't guarantee you how it will be after COVID. It's quiet here, but there is a big community. And I met beautiful friends, and I really love it here, especially because I don't live in town, but I live outside of town. So I live in my own little green bubble. But yeah, that's what you can, if you have 3 months, you can visit 3 areas. It's actually very handy to travel. You can start flying, taking depends if it's rainy season. Ryan, you can fly into San Jose, take a domestic flight to Liberia and hop off there and start near Tamarindo, have a rental of something like a 4x4 car, especially when it's rainy season, and then drive down. Then drive down to Nosara, and then drive down on the peninsula to Santa Teresa. And that's actually perfect. That's the area that we explored before we planted our flag here. So if that helps, let me know. Okay, so John. Hi, John. John is asking, hi, I want to move there. Is it safe to come? Actually, I love your question. I looked up what people are looking for online about Costa Rica, and safety is a big one. Safety of Costa Rica is a big one. So let me be clear. What is safe and what is not? Like if you go to a foreign country, you always have to pay attention, right? My previous video that you see on my channel, the 12 common mistakes an expat can make, Costa Rica Dangers, I cover like which things you should be careful about. But in general, Costa Rica is a super safe country for travelers alone, for women travelers alone, for families to travel, and also all these groups as expats, right? It has communities, it has, so physically safety, like it has an excellent healthcare, it has excellent education systems. Actually, for expats, for locals, education is free for kids, and healthcare is free for kids, and the healthcare is really well. Like for example, now with COVID, everyone is treated. If you have COVID, no matter if you're rich or poor, no matter if you're a tourist or a local, you will be treated. I think that's really, really awesome. That with that aspect, it's super safe. I have friends, their boy had a kidney operation. It was necessary. Excellent medical expert in Clínica Bíblica in San Jose. So yeah, beautiful healthcare. I think the only thing that's not so safe, and I'm serious, I'm laughing, but I'm serious, is the bad infrastructure in areas on peninsulas, such as where we live, for example. Peninsula de Nicoya, it's a blue zone, but it has many dirt roads in a rainy season. There is landslides, there's holes in the ground. Your car will, if you don't pay attention, your car can break down. It's dangerous. And that's a serious danger. But, you know, if you live off grid, if you want to live in areas where there's better infrastructure, find other areas, right? Near San Jose, near Liberia. Oh, I hear someone is in front of my gate. I think, I'm not sure. So yeah, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Oh, awesome, Ryan. Yes, understood all the cities you were talking about. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah, look it up on the map. It's really easy to do logistically. So, but oh, pay attention. In rainy season, domestic flights are unpredictable. So if it's really heavy raining, for example, in October, it can really heavy rain. They can guarantee you a flight, but then you can always rent a car and just drive down or basically up. You can just do that if you have a 4x4. It's doable. We also use the car, and sometimes we have to go to San Jose in rainy season, so it's doable with or without domestic flight. Ryan, okay. Do you think True Wisdom asked? Do you think the window will open on July 1st? I wish I could say yes. Honestly, I think no, but I hear whispering different things all the time. I hear people saying, yes, I think they will do it because it will help all the local businesses to get some income even in rainy season. Normally, you should know this time of year will be really quiet because it's rainy season in our area. It will be kind of quiet in restaurants. And like I said before, things are in general closed. People do maintenance in this time of year and prepare everything for the high season months starting December 1st until, you know, until May 1st, until it starts to rain, basically. So, but other speculations are that people say, I think they keep their borders closed to keep the people safe, to prevent Costa Rica get like people from all over the world spreading the virus, and they're going to extend it month after month. That is a theory that I hear whispering as well, that the government does it on purpose to extend per month, and then July 1st, they will say, no, we're going to do it August 1st. And August 1st, they're going to say, no, we're going to do it September 1st. But I don't know. What I recommend you to do is go to Google and type in Tico News. That's a local news channel or journal, news channel. I don't know how to call it. And it has excellent local news. Okay. So you can dive into that and keep yourself updated. I'm looking at other questions. I'm not young. S. Walker, what's not young? I know people who are 78, like my mother-in-law, and she feels super young. You're as young as you feel. But that's me. Who am I, right? S. Walker, where are you from? Netherlands, Europe. Tourism. I want to move there. True Wisdom asks, I want to move there, waiting for the window to open. Well, I will send some vibes out there, and I hope that you can come. Like I said, Costa Rica will benefit from it. I have lots of friends with local businesses. They will benefit from visitors, from tourists, from travelers coming here and eat in their restaurant and come yoga at their studio and rent a place in their resort. And the nature deserves it. I know there's nature parks with wild animals. They don't have enough food because there's no tourists paying for their tickets to enter the park, so the animals don't have food there. It's all a circle, right? So, hi, Mina. Hello. You hopped on. That's great. Thank you for saying hi. What's the easiest way to get residency? It depends. Getting a baby. If you get a baby here, together with someone, of course, the baby's born here, you get residency. That's the easiest way. Another easy way is to invest in property, minimum of $300,000. Then you can apply for residency as well. And but the easiest way is to do it when you're here. That's my biggest advice. And I shared it in my previous video, the 12 most common mistakes. A lot of people go through the hustle of long-term residency while they're not even here yet, and then they have got it somehow, and then they decided, oh, Costa Rica is not for me, because Costa Rica can be challenging. John Miller saying, thinking Samara, Puerto Carrillo area first, and maybe shipping down the container full of tools and equipment to open up a woodworking and a restoration business, employ locals, export finished goods. Okay, John, that's awesome. I have a heads up for you about your tools. I don't know, where do you come from? If you come from Europe and you have different plugs, so the tools are used to different streams of energy, electricity, you can ruin your tools because the electricity here works differently. And also it can be, sometimes it drops, it's higher, low. And most imported tools are not built for that. I actually happen to know a carpenter who took all his tools from Belgium. And we actually, Dirk always said, I regret that I sold all my tools in the Netherlands, which we did because we didn't know that we would be buying property and that we would be building a house, and Dirk just loves to build and work with his hands. And he always said, I wish that I had shipped a container with my tools. But then we met our carpenter friend and he said, oh, don't bother, don't worry, because all my tools that I imported crashed because they couldn't keep up with the electricity diversity. So it's like going in waves here. So that's a heads up. I'm not saying that the Costa Rica tools are lost forever, but they're actually made to work in Costa Rica. So let me know who was saying that about tools. Let me know where you're from. Or anyways, I hope that you can work with my answer. Watching from Venice, says John. Okay, so John, yeah, it was you. John, that's Europe. So it's tricky to bring your tools. Dive into it. You can put some dividers, electricity dividers, who help the tool not get the, I don't know how to explain that, but it is a choice. If you bring it, usually tools imported from Europe break. Okay, John is also saying, Muriel, watching from Venice now, thanks for doing this. Well, you're welcome. I'm planning to drive down with my dogs and an Airstream as soon as I finish up my home renovation and once everything opens back up. Okay, dogs, very, very important. You have to have them vaccinated a couple of months before you leave. Ask your local vet about the rules and regulations of Costa Rica, and they need to have rabies. For sure, they need to have rabies, but they need some other stamps. And I know from experience, because Dirk's mom brought her dog. She comes and goes. She brought her dog twice so far, a Dutch dog. And she could only enter Costa Rica. It took her about 3 to 4 months to get her first rabies stamp in the book, because they need to do several tests. So the dog needs to be vaccinated against rabies and then get like a checkup a couple of months later. When the dog is rabies free, then you get your stamp and then you're allowed in Costa Rica. So you're thinking to enter Costa Rica in a couple of months, start today with your vaccination program with your dogs. Otherwise, they do not allow you in. They're very, very strict with it. I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments. Hi, doggies. So here are my dogs again. John, what's a great place to live where there is less rain, more sun, and quiet? Okay, that's a hard one. I think where I live, but I'm not sure. There are areas, actually, I don't know. I should look that up. I also mentioned I don't know everything. I'm learning myself. I actually don't know. I do know that it's way wetter in Dominical and down, and in the southern provinces of Osa. And I do know that it's super wet in Monteverde, for example, because it's in the mountains. And I am not sure. So basically, what I do know, it rains basically every day in the area of San Jose, but it's not super bloody hot every day there. So that can be really refreshing in the times that it's super hot and the birds are dropping dead from the trees, in a way of saying with a wink, right? It can be super hot here. I think that's a good Google question. Just Google where there's the less falling rain in Costa Rica. And let me know if you found the answer, because I can learn from it. Meanwhile, I go to other questions. So Venice, Florida. Mina is in Venice, Florida. Okay, John, you're saying, True Wisdom is saying, can I use my cell phone service there? If not, what's a good company? I don't know where you are. I could use my cell phone company when I was a tourist in Costa Rica, but I paid a lot of money because it was going through the provider that I had in the Netherlands. What I also recommend you to do is just buy a local SIM card and plug that in your phone. And depending on where you are, where I live, so they say in general, movie star is best. But in my area, movie star doesn't work. I don't know why. I don't know. There's not enough antennas or something. So we use Colby. We use Colby at the peninsula, the Nicoya in general. But I would just recommend you to see if there is like a travel package with your provider, and there's packages and servers serving tourist packages, so you can call for a limited price and use your own phone. But if you want to be here long term, I recommend you to just buy a SIM card. You need to bring your passport and stuff for that. It's not just you buy it in the supermarket, you plug it in. But you can. I have done it. Buy a SIM card. You have a Costa Rica number, and then it's basically super cheap. WhatsApp. Everyone is using WhatsApp, so you can, if you have Wi-Fi and you can plug in commercial places where they have Wi-Fi, you can just use free Wi-Fi to connect with the world using WhatsApp. Also, people in your country. Does that make sense? Let me know. Oh, that's so nice because people are hopping on. There's 13 people live. I'm for 40 minutes live. I'm just going to continue. By the way, I need to go in half an hour, but I won't be that long because I have to go to kickboxing in town. Let me see. Okay, so John is saying, thankfully, I'm used to running all my own electricity for installing water purification system all across Cuba. Awesome. So you're not new. That's nice. Congrats. I'm happy that you know a lot about water. Water is a big thing here in Costa Rica. Water is like gold in Costa Rica. So that was not really a question. Mentioned the import taxes for the Airstream. I don't know. I have no clue, Billy. I don't know the import taxes for the Airstream. I don't know. No. I will be honest if I don't know the answer, right? So I'm honest. John says, that's great advice. Thanks. I think I have to file box of paperwork pockets for all the border crossings too. Yes, you have to. Okay, a lot of things are easy. So, you know, when you take just a little bit of stuff, like 2 suitcases and a backpack for us, but there are some things you really must have. Even when especially when you bring a dog, for example, you cannot miss having their vaccination book. If you lost it or, you know, forgot it, you can bring your dog. So yeah, dive into that information, what you need to enter the country anyways. I see Mina is asking, are border hops still a thing? I want to move and do this, but I'm scared. I won't be let back in. I have pets and want to buy land, but not for 300,000. Okay, Mina, my advice, you can take this. This is not official advice, but what I do know. So first of all, now there's no visa runs because the borders are closed. But suppose the border is going to be open, yes, visa runs are a thing. I know people personally, they live here for 12 years. They bought property for less than 300,000, so they cannot apply for residency. There are a family of 2. When they came, their kids were young and growing up, and they do visa runs for 12 years straight. They do border runs. Sometimes they were visiting family and friends in the US, or they went on vacationing in Panama. But in general, they hop on the bus, a visa run bus that brings you to a border, basically Nicaragua. It's the easiest one. I've experienced that like 8 times or something. And you go back. Yes, officially, you have to pay attention. There is a chance that they won't let you in. But I have never heard people who are not let in. If you know what to say, and you can even ask the border run companies who arrange those mini bus transportation, they can tell you what papers to bring. I also shared it in my book, Mina, 7 Steps to Costa Rica, the exact things you need to do and know to do your border run without being surprised. So I advise you, to grab my book, 7 Steps to Costa Rica, if you want to fully be prepared. But I think that the fear is not so relevant. But of course, who am I? It's officially against the law. It's not supposed to go that way, I must say, but it's not against the law. It's like going through the mazes of the law. So I hope that makes sense. But does it help you to hear that there's many people doing visa runs for years? I always say, when you're not stressing out the country, when you did not do illegal things, when you are not disturbing society, why wouldn't they let you in, right? Just have your papers in place and know what to say or when to not say something. And I described it in my book. If that makes sense, you can get my book by tapping the link in the description below, and I will add the description below after the video is uploaded as video on my channel. Oh, you will have a baby maybe. Oh, that would be awesome, Mina. Okay, Billy Morgan. John mentioned he will be bringing an Airstream mobile home. So that's a mobile home. I didn't know that word. After 3 months, you will have to register in Costa Rica and pay in. Thank you. Billy actually answered John's question. That's why I love this. That's awesome. That's super interactive, this. Okay. Mina, the link to the book. Oh, you know what I will do? I will grab it for you right now. Hold on. I have the link and I can send it in the chat to you. Meanwhile, if people have questions, just post them in the comments and I can handle a couple of more questions. Again, I don't have the answer to everything, but hold on, I cannot speak and scroll at the same time. But what I do know, I will answer. Okay, here is the Mina. How can I will just type it in the chat below. Mina, do you see the chat? So this is for you, Mina. I posted it in the chat. Okay, there you go. Do you get Amazon there? That's a good question. I do not order anything. I don't take the risk that things get lost. I do know people have good experience with it. But in general, everyone who visits us, I have them bring stuff in their bags. That's basically how we do it. We don't have addresses here. Again, I'm not saying things will not be delivered, but especially where we live, we don't live in a big city. We don't have really clear directions on where our address is. I know people who received packages from Amazon, for example, and I know people who lost a lot of packages. They never were able to receive them. So that's a risk that you should take depending on where you are, which exact location you are. It might be really, really easier. So this is basically what I do. If I need to send stuff, paperwork to my attorney, for example, I have a special delivery person. He actually has a special person who delivers it in person. He literally drives by bus or car or whatever, and he takes packages to bring from A to B. So there are ways, but that has nothing to do with getting your Amazon orders here, right? So yeah, that's challenging in Costa Rica, at least for me. How hard is it to bring things to? Oh, hold on. Max Goodrich says, "Hey Muriel, Eva here. Wondering how long it took you to set up your online business to actually be able to support your family. It's our dream to transition to working online and moving to Costa." Okay, that's a very good question, Eva. I love your question and we should connect. I will give you a reply here. And I also want to invite you, Eva, I will give you my Facebook link. No, it's in the description. No, I'm going to send it to you. Hold on, Eva. First, I'm going to give you my Facebook. And then please message me on Facebook. So basically, people want to have more details. It's, for me, the easiest way to chat on Facebook. I do Instagram, but I'm kind of lazy with it. Eva, this is for you. I'm posting my Facebook profile. Just send me a messenger. Remind me that you hooked up with me and asked this question on YouTube. And I love to have a chat with you on top of what I'm going to answer now. And that is this. Eva, let me know if you see the link in the comments below of my Facebook. Say, hey, if you send me a message, hey, it's Eva from YouTube. and I want to know how long it took you to work profitably online. Okay, I started 6 years ago, right? There was not really advanced training, exactly step by step, teaching me how to go from zero to making between $5,000 and $10,000 per month required. I'm mentioning this number because I believe you should, if you have a family or you're a couple, you need $5,000 more or less to live an okay life in Costa Rica, depending on your life standard and your values, right? This is just general. Some people do it way less, some people need way more, but just a meeting in the middle. It took me 2.5 years back in time. But I know because I have my own programs and I offer programs, marketing programs that I use also myself to become more advanced online, because everything is always changing online. If I would get started today online, I believe you need 3 months to a year. Take that in general to just not stress yourself out. Okay. What I do know is that some people burn their ships and they think, I'm gonna just go for this and just hope for the best. I believe you should be jumping from your paid job to your online business for good. So replacing the one with the other. If you solidly are making double that you make with your income, because online it goes like this. It's entrepreneurship. Some months are super good, some months are a little bit less, but you can earn limitless online, right? So I have students of some of my programs. They made their first $2,000 online in their first month. I also know people who are online for 10 years and never made anything. But personally, back in time with the programs that I had access to, it took me 2 years to make my first dollar online. But I always knew that others were making way more. So I just pressed on until I just finally mastered the skills that you really basically need to earn profits online. And that can be done in several ways. And that's why I love to chat with you, because it's too much to share here. If you would have access to a professional training, a professional organized training, I'm not saying a free training that you can find online on YouTube, or $100 training. It can teach you a bit, but not everything that you should know. It's more like, that's more like orientation-based training. If you would get access on the training that teaches you all the skills that I have mastered over the years, I believe it's possible in 3 to 12 months. For sure. And I think if you take a year in general, that's what I teach in my life coaching. Take a year in general from the moment that you're looking for a way to go in transition for yourself. By the way, Dirk is fixing the water pipe on the roof because it's raining. That's the noise. So to go in transition, make a career switch from a paid job to unpaid entrepreneurship online. I think you should take a year, and also on average to transition from your life in another country to move to Costa Rica. I will always say take 12 months, 4 seasons. If you are living in a country with seasons, it makes sense. Does it make sense to you, Eva? And I'm looking forward for your message on Messenger. Okay, and I can tell you a little bit more about it. By the way, Eva, you can also click the link under every of my videos. There's the first link is always leading to an orientation course, right? But if you want to just go beyond the orientation course, hit me up on Facebook, okay? John says, thanks, Billy. Okay, there you go. Okay, Max Goodrich / Eva said, got it. Thanks, girl. You're welcome. Mina, I have $2,000 a month for 2 people with no rent mortgage. I think that should be enough. Does that mean you have to pay rent included, or is that without rent? So you have your rent secured. Mina, that's a good one to think about. Depending on where you live, rents can be really low, can be really high, also depending on your values, right? John Scoppa says, good question. Billy says, John Miller, sell the Dodge. You were paying 10 for parts. Okay. So you're solving each other's problems, which I love. Hey guys, I'm about to wrap up this video. I'm already chatting, blah 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 blah, like this. Oh, I forgot I have water here, for almost an hour. But this is so awesome. I love the interaction. I love to see you. I love to see your questions. It also tells me, oh yeah, true. Yeah. How hard is it to, there's another question. How hard is it to bring things through customs? Can you specify what things you are thinking about? Because that depends, right? Oh, Amina says, I have another question. Oh, have you so first let me answer. True wisdom, how hard is it to bring custom things through custom? It depends on what it is. So give me some ideas on what things you're thinking about, and then you can look it also up online, like what can you bring through customs in Costa Rica? It really, really depends. Dirk brought car. This is a funny story. I'm going to share that with you. So we have a Range Rover, 1974, and the what's the word? I don't know. The flexibility of the car, right? It's those things. What's the word? So the car has flexibility, right? To not bump. So he brought those, and he searched online. Those are also used in playgrounds for kids with ducks on it, and kids can sit on it and wobble, right? The guys at customs said, well, you have to pay for this, obviously, like $200 per piece. And Dirk said, why? Well, because it's a car part. And then Dirk said, car part, but I use it for this. And then he showed the kids picture with the playground where it's used. And then the guy at customs, oh, not for a car. Okay, you walk. And he didn't have to pay. I'm just saying, these things happen. So be specific, look it up, and see if there's a story you can wrap around it to bring it as being something else, right? Things you get from Amazon grocery. There's rules about it, what you can get from, like as herbs and stuff. There's rules described. Customs, Costa Rica, you can look it up. There's big lists. I recommend you to dive into it. It's not doable for me to know it all, but I'm being resourceful, right? If I don't know the answer, go to Customs, Rules, Costa Rica, and you will find your answer. Mina, how hard is it? Okay, please go up. Mina, I'm searching for your question. Okay. Have you into Liberia International Airport? What was your experience? No, I have not been there. I have never been there. So I don't know. But I do know people have great experiences. It's a great airport. And you're welcome, Mina. Mina's thanking me for sharing my knowledge. As you can see, I don't know everything. I cannot repeat that enough. But no, Liberia is awesome. Especially it's handy when you want to be there and it's, for example, bad weather, it's rainy season, and you land in San Jose. It can take a lot of hours to drive to Liberia. When you can take a domestic flight to Liberia or direct to Liberia because you need to be close to Liberia, I recommend you to do that because overland can be harder in specific times of year. So does that answer your question, Mina? Okay. Dear people, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my next video or videos. If you still have questions, post them below. I will look into always your comments. And if you like my videos, of course, share my videos. If you haven't subscribed to my videos yet, do that. If you want to order my book, 7 Steps, it's an ebook, 7 Steps to Move to Costa Rica, go to the description under all my videos. If you're interested in working online, hit me up on Messenger. You will find a link under the description of in the description of my videos. And if you want to have a one-on-one call with me, on top of things that you have learned from me, you can also book a 45-minute call. I have a link that's leading to more information, how you can book me. You can ask me anything. You have to send your questions up front, giving me some time to be resourceful, and you get the recording as well. I'm just super happy to follow your journey as well, and to meet you one day in Costa Rica. To wrap up my video, my vision is to build a community of Costa Rica lovers and expats who all are able to work remotely and online the way that I do, because I believe that's the most intense way of living a free life in Costa Rica and giving back to Costa Rica. Costa Rica deserves it and needs economic growth. So if you earn your own income, have your own economy online, no matter if you were a yoga teacher and can do live streaming, teaching your yoga class, no matter if you're a life coach, if you write books like I do and sell them, if you do services, if you're affiliate marketer, if you do crypto like I started recently to do, there are so many ways to generate income online. There's hundreds of ways. I just do like 10 ways, but there's hundreds of ways. I believe Costa Rica is such an awesome country to live in because it's beautiful, it's safe, it's friendly, it has an awesome culture, many faces, many climates. I'm in love with Costa Rica and I'm looking forward to meeting you there one day. Subscribe to my channel and now I'm super ready to go to Kickbox. Thanks for watching again. This was Muriel from the Sunshine Family. Ciao.